Welcome to the Dark Horse Paranormal Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Carr, and we've been down for a little while. I've been pretty busy. I had a lot going on, and tonight I've got Kristen Johnson with us.
Hey.
And we're bringing sexy back, aren't we? We've got a show together called Bigfoot and the
Bunny.
And that's on the UPRN radio network. That's United Public Radio, which you can find at www.uprntalkradio.com. That's Joe Montaldo's network, who you may have heard of from Ancient Aliens. And we've been up to a lot of stuff. So we're going to try a new format tonight. We're going to shorten the podcast a little bit. I think the biggest complaint I've gotten about it is that it's very long. So we're going to try doing this in shorter spurts, if you will. So we've got lots of stuff. We've got all kinds of spirit box clips. We've got a great, EVP, right?
Yes, we have an awesome EVP.
Fantastic EVP about a place we've been investigating, and we want to share it with you guys. So sit back, relax. Let's get this mother rolling.
The itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the spout again.
So, Kristen and I have been very busy with our show, Bigfoot and the Bunny, which we'll tell you more about in a little bit, but we want to tell you about where we've been investigating. And it's something we call
the undisclosed location.
And the reason we call it the undisclosed location is because it quite literally has a sign in front of it that says no paranormal investigations. However,
we went out there. It took us over an hour to get out there and everything, and we didn't realize that the sign was there. And it was, during the middle of the day. That's
right. It was a daytime thing we were doing anyways. It wasn't at night. And I imagine they just don't really want people and teams coming there at night. And you can tell that kids party down there. There's a lot of broken bottles.
Broken glass.
It is a cemetery, if I didn't say that already. And, of course, everywhere we go, we're very respectful. And people do visit this place often. It is open to the public during the day. It has a rather notorious set of legends behind it, but I'm not going to get too into that because, it's kind of uncouth to be investigating something that the people actually say, please do not investigate. But,
right, we didn't get permission.
However, we would have let it go and just kept our data and never said a thing.
Absolutely.
Except that it's turned into quite
a rabbit hole.
Quite a rabbit hole, quite a puzzle where we're trying to fit the pieces together. And it gets deeper and deeper. Now that we've been a couple of times putting together this data, it seems like we have the souls of children trapped in there and
begging us to let them go, and
not to use the D word like some shows do, but it does seem a little demonic, like something outside of it, like keeping them trapped.
When we first walked in there, it was so serene. We took off our shoes. Yeah. It was absolutely gorgeous, but it was very serene. And the only thing that I felt was there was something very evil that was surrounding the outside of the cemetery.
In particular, the left
corner. And I really couldn't put it together at the moment I was there, because we went back another time, which is for a different podcast. Right.
And we were drawn to that left corner. So it's kind of where we kind of started heading off, pretty much at the front of the, quote unquote, no investigation. And you turned to me and you said, "Did you hear that?"
That's right.
And I said, "What, the boar?"
I said, "No." The woman laughing maniacally.
Right. You were talking about a woman laughing maniacally. Yeah. And I had literally just heard what a boar would sound like a snorting and like the ruffling in the woods, like further out past the cemetery in the woods, like that, burrowing sound. And I just took that to be a boar, which, by the way, I found out we don't have boars in the state.
They're not indigenous to our state.
They're not indigenous to our state, nope. And you had heard a woman laughing maniacally.
I did, and I heard rustling in the trees and the branches and everything, and at the same time, it was really bizarre. And that was before we started recording.
Right.
So that was our first paranormal.
You guys have to excuse me. I'm getting over my 15th cold of the season. It seems like I've been sick for weeks, but
we wonder if it's something that has to do with this too.
Oh yeah, it's trying to kill me.
Right?
I'm getting too close to the truth. Yeah, they're worse than the government.
Oh, that was awesome.
So.
Yeah, don't get me started on that government.
Right? And there is this kind of, I don't know, secret squirrel mystery thing that's going on here. I mean, there are certain legends, a set of them, based around this particular location. And, we're trying not to be uncool. We do not want to drive people there.
Not at all.
We
don't recommend you even go there.
But we do feel like it's a little scary, and we don't know if, for instance, that, maybe certain cults still occupy this place and,
right.
commit certain practices. Now, I mean, if you know us and you've been following the Dark Horse Paranormal podcast, I have an occult background, and, I'm very open to the idea of cults and rituals and such things. But this is actually a little spooky because there do seem to be
trapped souls. They're children. There's other souls there that keep saying, help me. There's something, and I feel it, some kind of evil presence.
Something nefarious.
Yes, around the entire cemetery that's keeping them in. And I can feel it, that it's whatever it is, it's in the woods.
It does seem rather evil, and they do seem rather trapped. And I think tonight's episode, we're going to center around the clips we've got of one certain child's soul, and his name is Toby.
Poor Toby.
And we actually were shaken up by some of these clips that we got.
We've been there twice, and we've got the same data twice the whole time.
Which is to say, the first time we went, we felt like we were communicating with the Toby, and we asked Toby, "How old are you?" First, Kristen asked. And the reply came back, I think twice. It says 7.
7.
It's 7.
3 times he says 7.
Then I said, Toby, how old are you in the same clip? Because we didn't hear it at the time. The spirit box is running, it's just going a million miles an hour, and you miss stuff. And you play it back and you go, whoa. But I thought I would ask the same question, because we do that. We parrot questions sometimes as kind of a technique.
Right.
For validation. And sure as
Enough.
shit, there it is. 7. It comes back again.
7,
more
7,
than,
he says.
like the other times. So that happened. And then we went back.
And asked again to make sure for validation the second time. And the same question. And we asked, Toby, how old are you? And he said 7. Chris asked, how old are you, Toby? 7. I mean...
There it was. Does it get better than that? So that kind of set up the next clip we're going to play for you guys. So we're going to do that right now. Here it comes.
Toby, how old are you?
How old are you?
So there you hear it. You hear Toby's all around, and it'd probably be a good idea to wear
headphones
to hear that even more clearly. But what I'm going to do for you right now is slow it down by, say, 7%. All right, there's no effects on this. This is raw audio. This is just how it is, but I'm going to slow the audio down. It's going to lower the pitch a little bit by 7%, just so you can hear it a little bit more clearly. I find the 7% is nice. It helps make out some of the little bits and pieces that we get with this ITC work. Especially with the spirit box scanning on a fast rate.
Really fast. Flips.
Yeah, and you get little bits. And they go by so fast, you don't notice it in real time. That, 90% of the time you miss it in real time. But, all right, here it is, slowed down by 7%.
Toby, how old are you?
How old are you?
So about a month later, we returned to the
undisclosed location.
And we made a couple of new friends that were also walking around and trying to more or less a day investigate like we were.
Courtney and Justine.
Yep, and they sat in for a spirit box session that we did. And I actually posted the entire spirit box session up on our SoundCloud, which if you go to soundcloud.com and search for Dark Horse Paranormal, you'll find it. And there's all sorts of clips on there from the podcast, from our Bigfoot and the Bunny show, and some things that aren't on either. So do check that out. But at some point in this session, I asked Toby, how old are you? And this is what we got.
Toby, can you tell us how old you are? Again? Seven.
Twice.
Dear.
Now we're going to slow it down by 7% for you.
Toby, can you tell us how old you are? Again? Seven.
Twice.
Dear.
Now, when you actually listen to that last clip, Toby says he's 7 4 times.
4 times.
At first, we thought it was only 2, but
I actually only heard it once in real time, but it was 4 times when we played it back. The next clip we're going to do is a bit longer, and is pretty much all the communications we had with Toby during that particular Spirit Box session with Courtney and Justine.
right.
Again, is posted out on SoundCloud. What I did a little differently with this clip is I used a tool called noise reduction. And what I did is I sampled the noise of the static and removed it. And what that did is it opened up some of the other things we couldn't hear.
Right.
And much to our surprise, there was a lot of things there.
Yeah, and it had a lot to do with Toby.
Yeah, we actually hear Toby whimpering and
Crying.
This is a very sad clip.
It's heart-wrenching.
You'll hear us ask the question again, how old are you? And there's more to it. And you're going to hear him say, where's mom? Which is really just awful. And he's basically sobbing. When I start the clip, you'll hear him crying.
Yes, he's sobbing. Yeah.
In the background. And that's this next clip. So check this out.
Toby, are you here?
Toby, can you tell us how old you are? Again? Seven.
Twice.
Dear. I didn't hear the first one.
We did. Yeah. Toby, what's your last name?
Why are you guys here? So there's leave. Leave. It did it again.
That's what I heard.
It's to leave. Does that mean you're leaving or we should leave? Scared. You're scared to leave.
Scared to leave.
Why are you scared to leave?
So that just blew our minds. I couldn't even believe it. I remember I was at work and you were telling me about it.
Yeah, I was going through it, and I couldn't believe I could hear him say, "Where's Mom?" And he's sobbing through the whole clip. And I messaged Chris at work and I said, you got to listen to this, but don't listen to it now because I'm crying and you're going to cry too if you hear it.
I don't know if I outright cried, but I was definitely choked up, and I really feel for this Toby because, it just made everything so much more real for us.
Yes, definitely.
I'm so glad I learned how to do the noise reduction, and we tried it on this because we've actually gone back now in some of our other clips and found some other things we didn't hear before.
Right.
So that's worked out pretty well. And, certainly this is a really sad case of a trapped soul who is scared to leave.
Yep.
That's what they're saying at the end of that.
Right.
But the most climatic moment, and I'll play it again, was...
Where's Mom?
Where? Mom. Where? Mom.
So yes, that was very heart-wrenching to us, and I'm sure to you listeners as well. There's one thing about this undisclosed location that we've just been obsessed with it, and back
Gone
and
down
forth,
rabbit holes after rabbit hole, and it became a day in, day out thing.
Right, and it got to be so much where we began to channel it in our houses.
Right, we could channel with the spirit box sessions in your house and in my house.
Right.
And in the next clip, to set it up a little bit or give you some background, we're full on rabbit holing at this point, and we're able to do these sessions. And Kristen isn't even here. We did a session at my house. She calls me on the phone.
Over
I've got
the
her
phone.
on speakerphone.
Yep.
And we're so close to this. We just simply started asking questions about Toby. Now, I don't know that we're talking to the entity that we feel resides in the
Undisclosed location, yes.
right, or if we're just hearing spirits, which I tend to think, telling us about it. But because we're so close to it, we're actually able to get the legit answers. During this time frame, and things have changed a little bit because we had to make it change.
Yes.
We were able to get into what we're going to call the AM band, or the evil AM band, that we're going to talk about probably in the next podcast.
Yes.
But there'll be more. Yeah, we'll explain this a little bit better. But for now, suffice to say, we could basically get stuff about Toby at our houses and more or less talk to some of the entities in the location. I think this is spirits talking to us. And
again, to reiterate, this is over the phone now.
Right. And we're not at the place. So we're at my house. Kristen's called me on the phone.
I'm at my house. Yep.
And we do a session. And this is a clip from that.
How did Toby die?
Who killed Toby? Fun.
Why? Why was Toby killed?
So there's an awful lot of information in that little bit of clip, right, Chris?
Yes, there is.
While we haven't decided on every word, there are so many words in just a few seconds. There's a lot we definitely agree on, and I'm sure you as a listener were able to pick up. Certainly, when Kristen asked, how did Toby die? Mm-hmm. It comes back and says, dead. He's dead. In tree. He's dead. Toby. Toby is dead. And you just hear the spirit saying, dead, 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 over. And I'm sure you heard that. Then I asked, who killed Toby? And then we hear, Toby, blackfish and hung. Toby was hung. blackfish. And I don't know what it is with the blackfish.
So we looked up blackfish.
Correct.
And you found it to be what, a...
In the 1680s, 1690s, the term blackfish came about in New England for saltwater fish, which is tautog and black sea bass. It could be an expression for that. That's the origins of that term. But we've wondered if maybe, back then in those days, if it meant something else, like perhaps gutting a fish, or to say blackfished, maybe that was something different, some kind of terminology that we don't use now.
Right, yeah.
But we clearly hear blackfish and hung, and then you hear blackfish again. Toby was hung. There was also, I think, when you first asked, how did Toby die? At the end of that, it also said something like, it goes, dead, in a tree, he's dead. Toby is dead. And then I hear, in it, shot. Double shot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what happened to this kid?
This poor kid. I don't know. All I know is
he's dead.
Yeah.
That's what we know.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Feels
And,
so
I
bad.
shouldn't laugh about after, that previous clip, but, good God, I've never gotten responses like this. This is ridiculous. Then we asked...
I asked, why was Toby killed?
Oh, right. All right.
And what we think happened was, we think that a spirit is basically speaking to us, but we went too fast with our questions. And we think that maybe it was telling us, when I first asked, how did Toby die? We're maybe like after Chris had said, who killed Toby? That's what they were, telling us.
There was more of a delay, which is
Yeah.
common when you're trying to get EVPs. You want to wait 30 seconds for the reply before you ask another question. And we might have been moving a little too quick.
And like Chris said, there's so much information in these clips that they're,
Just a few
stuff that they give
seconds.
us that we should have waited at least a few minutes,
Right.
We know
right.
better now.
And but at the end of that clip, it sounds to me like the spirits are talking about you.
Yes.
Saying you're Kristen upset home. It mentions your son's name.
Yes,
Jake.
twice. Jacob, Jake.
And it says, because, happy son Jake, 7 or 11. And I think that's referring to your maternal instincts, because you have an 11-year-old and you're a mom. And, I think they just know that you're upset about the Toby thing on a level that is pretty deep, and obviously I'm upset too. And I have a son and a daughter, so a bit older, but I'm upset, but you have those maternal instincts. And I think they recognize that. And that's what they're talking about at the end of that. So I'm going to play it again. I want the listener maybe to, take in what we just said and
Right.
what we think it says, and hear this one more time.
How did Toby die?
Who killed Toby? Son.
Why? Why was Toby killed?
So an interesting thing happened, and we were able to catch an EVP on our first trip to...
The undisclosed location.
That's right. And this is a pretty good story, and one of the more paranormal things that actually has happened to me, and you, I believe, as well.
Me as well, yes.
We were, we had been recording for a while and doing some things and walking around, and we were walking toward the outer wall. Kristen had the Tascam DR5 with a headset plugged in.
The noise-canceling headset.
Correct.
Yes.
So basically everything you were hearing was through the recorder.
Now, it's a small cemetery, so we left the spirit box and a recorder in the middle of it as we walked down.
That's right. There's a certain area there we call the middle that, has some legends attached to it as well. But we were walking toward the outer wall together, and she's listening to all the sounds of the woods and different things through her headset, and I'm walking with her, and we're asking questions. And very suddenly we heard, what?
Hello.
Hello. We heard this, somebody
huge
yell,
echo.
hello, like very loudly, and it scared the crap out of me. Enough that I jumped up on the wall of the outer wall and looked, because it seemed to come from the gates being a key word. Like there was somebody outside maybe calling us out.
Right, to see if we were there, if somebody was there, right.
Exactly. And I thought for sure there was, and you jumped, and we both jumped at the same time. We both heard it. There was nobody there. Nope, not a soul. And the really weird...
See, when you jump on the wall, you could see over the gate.
I could see at the gates, and the really weird part was that the hello didn't make any of the recordings.
No, not at all.
No. And so I then jumped off the wall, and I jumped onto there was a rock, like that had fallen off the wall. Jumped onto that, and it made a click sound. It made you jump again.
Yes.
Because you heard it very loudly through the DR5. It sounded like huge. And it just kind of, I jumped on this rock and made a click sound. And then, in that same moment, we caught this EVP.
Awesome EVP.
Right. And what you're going to hear is, it sounds like maybe an early American gentleman.
It's Old English, yes.
Seems like an Old English sound, as I would expect it to sound, I guess.
Sure.
And he says, rock 'twas old.
What that thing is. That's me.
This scared the shit out of me. So that was a great EVP.
Yes, it was. That was so cool.
I mean, you can literally hear his Old English accent, since this is one of the oldest burial grounds or cemeteries.
Certainly in the area. I think the first burial in there was one of the Potter family members. Ooh, hint, hint, wink, wink. Back in 1740. And there are a few different families buried in there. Mm-hmm. But, let's hear that again. I'm going to slow it down, maybe?
Yes, let's slow it down.
In case you missed it the first time. Rock 'twas old. So, hope you guys enjoyed that. This has been the third episode of the Dark Horse Paranormal Podcast, and you can find us on Facebook at Dark Horse Paranormal if you search for that, as well as
Bigfoot and the Bunny.
That's right, Bigfoot and the Bunny. And Bigfoot and the Bunny is live every week on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern on www.uprntalkradio.com, or more easily seen where you can actually see us. It's live streamed on YouTube by United Public Radio. So if you go out and search YouTube for United Public Radio, you'll find a live stream that is steady every night. And
Joe Montaldo's network.
Yes.
And it's 107.7 FM, New Orleans.
That's right. In New Orleans, you can hear us live on the radio, on FM radio, which is pretty cool, right, Chris?
Yes, it is.
I like that. And, we've got that. And you can find us on Facebook again at Dark Horse Paranormal and Bigfoot and the Bunny. You can find us on Instagram.
And on Twitter.
At those same names. So if you search for Bigfoot and the Bunny or Dark Horse Paranormal on any of those social media outlets, you will find us. So come, like, subscribe. Please do. Wherever you're listening to this on, whether it be iTunes or, Google Podcasts or Spotify or whatever it is, give it a like and subscribe, just so we know. And you can keep up with us, because we're going to definitely release a lot more episodes of this.
Absolutely.
In this shorter format coming up soon.
Come down the rabbit hole with us.
Join us in the rabbit hole. So we appreciate it. My name's Chris Carr.
And I'm Kristen Johnson. Thank you for listening.
Have a good day. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.